Hey, what's up guys, my name is Vinith and you're watching V Diaries. In this video, we are going to compare the cameras on the OnePlus 6 and the Redmi Note 5 Pro. Even though these phones are priced at a distant price range, I really felt the need of doing this comparison after looking at how Redmi Note 5 Pro closely competed with OnePlus 5T. Before going any further, if this video helps you in any way, don't forget to drop a like, and if you appreciate the effort that goes into making such contents, do hit the subscribe button. I also make travel vlogs apart from the tech, so do check them out as well, obviously once you finish this one. Now let's roll that intro. Let's start with the camera specification. The rear camera setup on the OnePlus 6 consists of main camera, which is Sony IMX519 16MP sensor with f1.7 aperture and 1.22 micron pixel size. For autofocusing, it uses DCAF, which is dual camera autofocus. The secondary camera in the rear setup is a Sony IMX376K 20MP sensor with f1.7 aperture and it has 1 micron pixel size. For autofocusing, it uses face detection autofocus. The main usage of this secondary lens is to store the depth information that will help you bring those portrait photos. It has a dual LED flash at the back. It has optical and electronic image stabilization. It records 4K video at 30 and 60 fps, 1080p videos at 30 and 60 fps. You can get super slow motion at 1080p at 240 fps, and 720p slow-mo is available at 480 fps, which is incredible. It also records time-lapse and it has a video editor inbuilt. You can click portrait photos using this dual camera setup. You can use the Pro mode to tweak the parameters. You can shoot panorama, HDR, and you can click the raw images as well, which has tons of information which can help you in post editing. The front camera on OnePlus 6 is Sony IMX731, which is a 16MP sensor with f2 aperture. It has 1 micron pixel size. It has electronic image stabilization and it uses fixed focus. In the video department, it records 1080p video at 30 fps, and same goes for 720p video as well. After the recent update, it supports portrait as well. You can click HDR images. It has a face beautify mode. For lighting, it uses screen flash. Now let's talk about the camera setup on Redmi Note 5 Pro. The rear setup on the Redmi Note 5 Pro consists of two sensors. The main camera is a 12MP sensor with f2.2 aperture and it has a 1.25 micron pixel size. The secondary lens is a 5MP sensor with f2 aperture and it has 1.12 micron pixel size. The secondary lens is used to capture the depth information to bring the portrait, which is the same purpose of OnePlus 6's secondary lens on the rear setup. This combo on Redmi Note 5 Pro is accompanied by a single tone dual LED flash, and it uses face detection autofocus for focusing. When it comes to video recording, it is restricted to 1080p at 30 fps, no 4K and not even 60 fps at 1080p. Videos from rear camera are electronically stabilized. Front camera on Redmi Note 5 Pro is a massive 20MP sensor with f2.2 aperture. The camera has 1 micron pixel size and it comes with a single LED flash. The front setup is capable of shooting 1080p videos at 30 fps. The Redmi Note 5 Pro also supports portrait photography for the front-facing camera. If you compare the price range, there is a massive difference. OnePlus 6 costs more than double of what Redmi Note 5 Pro is offering. 6GB 64GB OnePlus 6 cost you around 35,000 rupees and 8GB 128GB cost you around 40,000 rupees. The base variant on Redmi Note 5 Pro that has 4GB 64GB combination that will cost you 15,000 rupees, and 6GB RAM and 64GB storage variant will cost you 17,000 rupees. All the affiliate links are in the description below. You can use them to make a purchase to help my channel at no extra cost. Comparing the camera application, the OnePlus 6 is quite stock. Swipe to switch between modes, swipe from bottom to get all the available modes. Manual mode present for photos only, which is kind of a bummer because this is something that is available on Honor 7X, which will cost you around 13,000 rupees. If you talk about Redmi Note 5 Pro, the camera app looks like an iOS camera application. You can switch between modes, the various shooting modes like video, photo, portrait, square photo, panorama and manual mode. The manual mode on Redmi Note 5 Pro allows you to control only ISO and white balance. Other important parameters like exposure, focus and even shutter speed are not tweakable. Now let's dive into the camera samples. Please note that I have clicked all these photos in auto mode, and because Redmi Note 5 Pro doesn't have auto HDR, I have also disabled the auto HDR on OnePlus 6. Photos in good lighting condition from both these phones have great details. The color temperature is slightly on the warmer side in the case of OnePlus 6. While color temperature could be subjective, the dynamic color range is better on OnePlus 6. What else is better on OnePlus 6 is the exposure adjustment. Both these cameras try to produce natural colors to the extent, but because of the warmer color tones, they look more natural on the OnePlus 6. The photos from Note 5 Pro are a bit oversaturated, but the difference is marginal. But that's only the case if you see these photos side by side. Take in case of this photo for example, there are very less areas where you can actually spot a difference. Taking a closer look at the close-up shots, here also the OnePlus 6 takes a bit of a lead. The OnePlus 6 has more blur is due to its wider 1.7 aperture as compared to the f2.2 aperture on the Redmi Note 5 Pro. Coming to the portrait photography, both these cameras do a fantastic job in distinguishing the foreground and the background subject. For complex objects, OnePlus 6 does a better job, but here also the difference is marginal. While it takes certain distance for Note 5 Pro to add that depth effect, with OnePlus 6 you can get very close to the object. The blur on the Note 5 Pro is more unsatisfying as compared to the OnePlus 6. When it comes to the non-human objects, both the cameras do a good job here as well. I have been sharing some random shots from both these phones on my social media handles, so if you're not following me over there, then you're missing on some early and behind the scene content. Here are the links. Moving to the artificial but good lighting conditions, both these cameras do a fantastic job in capturing the details. Coming to low light photography, that's where the OnePlus 6 starts shining. The detail and the sharpness is found to be better on OnePlus 6. In low light areas, Note 5 Pro overexposes the image, resulting into a noise and grain in the picture. In this photo for example, the green lighting has a blown out lining in the case of Note 5 Pro, whereas OnePlus 6 kept it as low as possible. Take another example of this photo, where you can easily see the details of the lighting in the case of OnePlus 6, and in the case of Note 5 Pro, the details are missing and the lights are blown out. In this picture, there is no doubt that the produce from OnePlus 6 has more details, sharpness, and it's overall a better output. Taking a look at the video sample from the rear facing camera, the first thing that you'll notice is how smooth the Note 5 Pro's footage is. The EIS alone has done an incredible job, but in the case of OnePlus 6, the stabilization just doesn't seem to be working, but that's the case when you shoot in 4K. As I move to 1080p 60fps, the results are better and the shakes are much less this time. Coming to the selfie camera, the produce from both these phones under good lighting conditions is great. When it comes to using the front light, which is provided using the screen flash in the case of OnePlus 6 and a front LED in the case of Note 5 Pro, both do a decent job. The portrait from both these selfie cameras have good details. Let's have a look at the video sample from the front facing camera. So I'm recording this video from the front facing camera of the Redmi Note 5 Pro and the OnePlus 6. You're going to see the footage on the screen right now, and the audio is being recorded using the internal microphone of these phones. As you can see, the focal length of the Redmi Note 5 Pro is much longer, and that's why you can see this cropped image on the OnePlus 6. Both these cameras have electronic stabilization under the hood, so I hope they are managed to stabilize the image at their best. While both these cameras did a good job, I liked the overall output of OnePlus 6. The output from Note 5 Pro does have a wide angle view, but the auto exposure issue is very annoying, but it can be easily fixable through a software update. I'm not sure why Xiaomi is not addressing this. So the conclusion, considering only the camera results, then the OnePlus 6 has a better output. It has a 4K and super slow-mo options, which doesn't seem to be there on Note 5 Pro. But in most of the areas, the Note 5 Pro gave a tough competition. But again, if you compare the pricing, the Note 5 Pro can save you lots and lots of money. If you ask me which is the best bang for the buck for the cameras, then I will definitely suggest Note 5 Pro. Reason behind that is, if you invest so much money only for the camera in OnePlus 6, then the improvement that you're getting is very minimal. I think Xiaomi has nailed it by providing Note 5 Pro the best camera for this price range. That's all for this video, folks. I hope it helped you making your purchase decision. There are purchase links in the description below. Like, comment and share this video with your friends. This has been Vinith. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.